Hello Year 4, welcome back to your next math lesson all about area. Today the focus will be making shapes using your knowledge of area. But before we do this, spend the next 3 minutes working on the daily fluency questions please. Remember to write them down on a piece of paper so that I can mark them when I have a look at your lovely work. Pause the video now please and work on these 4. Okay, 87 divided by 5. This is 17 remainder 2. You could have used various methods to work this out, such as the part-whole model or a place value chart and counters, or even base 10. Number 2, round 3,456 to the nearest 100. We know the number that represents the hundreds is the 4. Then we can look at the tens, which is a 5, to know that we round up to 500. So the answer would be 3,500. Number 3, 37 multiplied by 5. You can use the short written multiplication method to work it out as being 185. And finally, what is the area of the shape giving your answer in squares? Well, we can count the squares to find that there are 9 squares. Well done if you got those right. I do have some more questions for you which will prepare you for today's learning. So, can you please answer the following 3 questions? Off you go. Okay, number 1, 5 add 5 add 5 add 5. This repeated addition, when you add 5 4 times, gives us the answer of 20. This is the same as 5 multiplied by 4, which is also 20. But it's also the same as 4 add 4 add 4 add 4 add 4, which is also 20. And it is the same as 4 multiplied by 5, which is 20. So we have just done the commutative method here, working out that 5 multiplied by 4 gives us the same product as 4 multiplied by 5. Number 2, what is the area of this shape? Well, you could count the squares to work out that there are 20 squares, the area is 20, or you could work more efficiently and use the fact that you know that there are 4 rows of 5 and 4 multiplied by 5 is 20, or there are 5 columns of 4 and 5 multiplied by 4 is also 20. Number 3, what shapes are these and what are their areas? Well, shape number 1 is a square and it has an area of 9 squares. And shape number 2 is a rectangle and it has an area of 12 squares because we have 2 rows of 6. Okay. So in today's lesson, we will be looking at how we can draw different shapes. Now, to start with, can you please tell me what the area of this shape is? Pause the video and work it out, please. Okay, did you find out that it has 7 squares, so the area is 7 squares. Now, I would like you to make a shape that has the same area. Can you pause the video, make a shape with the same area using 7 squares, making sure your squares are the same size, okay? Pause the video and off you go, please. Okay, you may have had some shapes that look like this, or one that looked like this, or one that looked like this. Now I would like you to have a go at drawing a shape on the grid. Now this shape has to be an area of 5 squares. Now I know because you're at home you might not have any squared paper. So what you can do is either cut up now 5 squares that are the same size, and then you can use those and move them around on your table, or you can just draw the 5 squares but making sure that they are the same size, okay? So can you do that now? Draw a shape on the grid with an area of 5 squares, please. Pause the video and off you go. Okay, some shapes that I came up with were this one, which is just a long rectangle, which is just one long row of 5. I also came up with this rectilinear shape, which is a bit of a square with one underneath, giving us an area of 5. And also I came up with this shape, which looks a bit like a flower, but it also has an area of 5. Now you might have got lots of other suggestions on how you made a shape with 5 squares, but I want us to just clarify a few things because Tiny has also had a go at making an area of 5 squares, a shape with an area of 5 squares. Now Year 4, I need your help because I'm not too sure that he's done it right. So we need to see what he's done wrong and how we can rectify his issue. So the first shape that he's made is this one. Now, is that a shape with an area of 5 squares? Do you think Tiny is correct? Pause the video and have a think, please. Off you go. Okay, give me a nod or a shake of the head. Is he correct or incorrect? He's not correct, is he? Why is he not correct? Can you tell the screen? That's right. Here, there is a gap in the shape. And when we make a shape, when we are doing area, it has to be a closed 2D shape. It can't have any gaps in the middle. Great work, Year 4. Okay. Tiny has had another go. He's persevering, like I always tell you, to keep trying and don't give up. So, he's made another shape. Do you think Tiny is correct? He's drawn a shape with an area of 5 squares. Is this correct? Because there's no gaps. Pause the video and have a think. Okay, give me a nod or a shake. Is he correct or is he incorrect? Oh, some of you saying he is correct, some of you saying he's not correct. Well, Tiny is not correct because although the corners of these squares are touching, that is not enough to make it a shape. A shape in this circumstance is where the sides are touching. So this is not a correct shape with an area of 5 squares either. He has had one last try and he asks you, Year 4, am I correct now? Pause the video. Is he correct now? Give me a nod or a shake. Is he correct or is he incorrect? Yes, he is correct now. We can see that he's made a shape. It has an area of 5 squares. The sides are touching. It's not just the corners, and there are no gaps. He has made a closed 2D shape and he's found the area, which is 5 squares. Now I would like you to have a go at questions 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the worksheet. Pause the video here and work on those now, please. Okay, so here I have a shape with an area of 5. Now, we want to change this shape to make it a square with an area of 9 squares. How would I do this? What would I change and what would I add? Pause the video and have a think, please. Okay, so what we could do, we could add 1 square to the bottom, making it a rectangle. So if we do that now, we can then see we have got 3 columns of 2, which is 6 squares. Now we know to make a square, all of the sides have to be the same length, which means all of the sides have to be at the same amount of squares. Now we have got 3 more squares to use, so where could we use them? We could use them down here because now we have made a square of 9 squares, which is the area, but it's also 3 by 3. It's got 3 columns and 3 rows, so we have made 9 squares. Now I would like you to have a go at questions 5, 6, 7 and 8 on the worksheet, please. Pause the video here and work on those now. Okay, so for the final part of your worksheet work today, I have got some squares here. I have got 7 squares and we want to know how many different rectilinear shapes can be made using these 7 squares. Remind me, Year 4, remind me, what is a rectilinear shape? That's right, it's a shape where it has corners, not round edges. The edges are cornered and it's like a right angles. The corners are right angles. Well done. So I want to make different rectilinear shapes using 7 squares. So what I could do, first of all, I could put them in one long line. And then I could put one underneath the line, like you can see there. Then I could change the positioning of the square that's underneath the line by moving it this side, and this side. Another way I could make a different rectilinear shape using 7 squares is to place the same square but underneath the second square in the line. Then I could move it to the second square in, up and across. And then I could work systematically and go to the third square across. Then I could move it across one, up again and up again. Then I could take one of my squares down here and use it to make another rectilinear shape. And then I could switch positions with that too. So can you see I'm working systematically to make as many as I can? So I'm going to start with the first bit, then the second square, then the third square, and make my way round. I could also make this rectilinear shape using my 7 squares, and I could make this rectilinear shape using 7 squares. I would like you to have a go at question 9 on the worksheet, then return for your final part of today's lesson, which is all about problem solving. Pause the video and work on this now, please. Okay, so we have got some reasoning and problem solving questions to finish off today's lesson. So Arlo is using square tiles to make a shape, and he says, I can make a rectangle using an odd number of tiles. Is he correct? And prove it. So we need to make a rectangle using an odd number of tiles, so an odd number of squares. Remind me, tell me some odd numbers, shout them at the screen. I can hear 1, 3, 7, 9, super. Is 0 an odd number or an even number? Even, good remembering. So we can use odd numbers. We can find out if a rectangle can be used odd numbers. So can you have a go, pausing the video, can you make a rectangle using an odd number of tiles? Pause the video now and have a go, please. Okay, so year 4, you will have known by now then, is Arlo correct? He is correct because this is an example. So we have actually used the example that we may have made, and we can state that this rectangle has 15 tiles used to make it. So yes, Arlo is correct, but most importantly, because you can make a rectangle with 15 tiles. And I've even proved it by drawing my rectangle here. Your next problem-solving question. Megan has drawn 3 different rectilinear shapes using square tiles, and each of these shapes has an area of 16 squares and has no more than 6 sides. What shapes could she have drawn? So I need to make a shape, and I need to make sure that I've used square tiles only, and each shape has an area of 16, so I've used 16 squares, and it has no more than 6 sides. Could have less than 6 sides, but no more than 6 sides. Can you have a go at drawing at least 2 shapes with an area of 16 squares? They have to be rectilinear shapes and no more than 6 sides. Pause the video and have a go, please. Okay, so my first one, I can see that I've used 16 shapes and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Similarly here, I have used 16 squares and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. And here I have used 16 squares and I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides again. Now there will be various answers for this one, year 4, so if you didn't get the shape I used, that's okay. On to our final problem solving question of the lesson, and then it's over to you to complete your problem solving questions. We want to complete the shape so that it has an area of 15 square tiles. Can you help me? I've already started my shape and I can see that I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So knowing this, 15 take away 6. 15 take away 6. 15 take away 6 is 9. I have 9 squares remaining and I need to complete the shape, and I cannot have an area larger than 15 square tiles. Can you help me and have a go and see if you can draw a shape and finish this one off with an area of 15 square tiles, please? Pause the video and have a go now. Okay, so your shape may have looked something like this. It may have looked something completely different, but if I count my squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can see that my shape has an area of 15 square tiles, so I have completed the task. Okay, now it's your turn to finish off the problem-solving questions. Remember, if a question asks you to explain, what should you do? That's right, you need to explain and use the word because. At any opportunity you get, year 4, make sure that you can prove what you know by drawing the shape and actually saying, I know this because this shape has an area of this amount of squares, okay? If you are doing your home learning on a piece of paper rather than printing out the pages that I give you, that's absolutely fine, but can you just make sure that you label it clearly, stating whether you've answered 7A, 8A or 9A, or alternatively 4A, 5A or 6A for those problem solving questions, please, because that makes it a lot easier for me to check your understanding. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye, year 4.